Hi, Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com's DevOps TV here at DOES San Francisco 2016. Our guest right now is Karthik Rau, who's CEO of SignalFX.
Yes.
Karthik, welcome.
Thank you, Alan.
So, Karthik, SignalFX is a sponsor
Yes.
of DevOps Enterprise Summit, but that's not why we have you on. I actually had met with some of your folks over at Puppet Conference a couple of weeks ago, and I sat through a demo of the product, and I was really blown away. It was one of the best UXs I've ever had a chance to play with. And don't thank me. I mean, it was my honest opinion. I loved what they did. But, our audience may not be as familiar with SignalFX. Why don't we start with a brief background of what the company is and does?
Sure. SignalFX is a SaaS monitoring service designed for operators of cloud applications. We collect metrics across the entire infrastructure applications in a cloud environment, whether that's a public cloud or a private cloud. And we use our Signal Flow streaming analytics technology to do analytics on the metrics and provide high quality, low noise alerts. And that effectively allows these operators of modern applications to get instant visibility into all of the patterns that are emerging in their living, breathing applications.
Yep. Now, as I mentioned, I had a demo of it at Puppet Conference, and you guys have an integration with Puppet.
Yes, we do.
But Puppet's not the only one. You're really drawing information from so many different sources. Give us an idea of other kinds of data sources that you're working
Sure.
with.
We have hundreds of integrations. In many ways, you can think of us as a more modern manager of managers, collecting data across the entire environment. So we have integrations with and collect data for infrastructure components. So we have integrations, for example, with Amazon to collect AWS metrics. We have integrations with a lot of commonly used open source technologies. So if you're running Docker or Mesosphere or Kubernetes, if you're running modern data platforms like a MySQL or a Spark or a Cassandra, we collect metrics for those. And it's not just collecting the metrics. We have integrations where we have pre-built alerts, pre-built dashboards, all using our Signal Flow analytics to provide some fairly intelligent alerts around those different technologies. We also have integrations with a lot of business process solutions. So that's, if you're using Puppet to do your deployments and configuration management. We have integrations with downstream solutions like a PagerDuty or a VictorOps for notification management, service management. So in our space, it's very important to be able to integrate with the entire ecosystem that's around us.
Absolutely. So one of the things about these integrations, though, too, and it's a great time to be in IT, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
It's not just the integration of data source coming in, but then you guys also have integrations going out. So depending on what people are using to monitor or for alerts or for stuff like that. And and today we have chat ops and HipChat and Slack and all of these other things. And you guys also are in that flow, if you will, right? Data in, analysis, alert out, so that, it really, the modern sys-op, compared to what I did a hosting company back in the mid-90s. And I remember some of the tools we had. Well, I think Nagios was already there. But, I mean, what we have now compared
Yeah, I think the key difference is in the past you used to collect events and alerts across the entire environment, and that was your centralized view, looking at all of the alerts and trying to filter them and correlate them. And what's changed is the data technologies are just so much better now.
Yeah.
And so you can collect the raw data instead of collecting individual alerts. And when you collect the raw data, you can do far more interesting things with it. You can analyze the trends. You can understand how the incoming data differs from the historical data. You can correlate data across multiple time series if you want to correlate application metrics against infrastructure metrics, against custom metrics, like how many API calls have you done in the past hour. You now have the flexibility of doing all of that, which wasn't possible in the past.
No. Well, so first of all, I will tell you,
in real time.
Yeah, a couple of things. The state of UX design was not what it is today. Right? I mean, we had green screens. We had green writing on our dark screens or amber writing on, it was different. Number one. Number two, though, and when you said that, it triggered back to what I had wanted to talk to you about, was the ability to drill down within the SignalFX interface and customize views and customize reports and customize okay, I'm seeing this, when do I see this over what time period, and when did I see it before, and what did I do then? And I mean, the depth of the user experience was just amazing. I mean, I was blown away, and it's been a while since I had to sit in a soccer and knock and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it really amazing what's at your fingertips with it.
And I think you're hitting on a key theme that we see with a lot of our customers, and particularly as enterprises are now moving towards this digital innovation and building new applications. These new applications are being delivered typically as a service.
Yep.
And when you're running a service, you care about more than just, is my application up or down? You need to understand all of the different patterns as they're emerging.
Yeah.
So, for example, all of a sudden there's a sudden surge in API requests on a particular microservice that's just overwhelming the service. Is it because one of your partners has updated its code and they're making a bunch of rogue
crazy.
API calls,
Right.
or is it you just all of us just in general have had a steady increase in usage that's now tipping over your service? So when you have a system like SignalFX where you're sending all the data in and you can slice by different dimensions, you can do things like alert if any particular partner ID is generating an unusually high number of API calls for this day of week and time of day, and get an alert that specifically tells you partner XYZ has an unusual growth rate in API requests. And if that correlates to when you get an alert that the system is under duress, you know exactly what you need to do, right?
Exactly.
So operational intelligence has become a much more significant criteria for monitoring than it may have been in the past, where you would be fine running a report once a week to understand the patterns. In today's applications, you need to know what's happening to your app effectively as the events are occurring.
Absolutely, and again, we live in great times, to do this. It's amazing we have that. You mentioned, and I happen to know this, right, but our audience, I wanted to emphasize that this is a SaaS-based service.
That's correct.
And as such, you don't have to be a Fortune 500 company to utilize, this great analysis tool and alerting tool that SignalFX is. Who is kind of your target customer?
Yeah, I would say our typical customers are running on a cloud, so it could be a public cloud or a private cloud. They typically are building applications, and they're typically moving towards more of this microservices type of application architecture. If you're doing that, then you absolutely will need a solution like SignalFX. And so more and more we're seeing companies of all sizes doing this, but typically it would be folks building applications. So software is a primary part of your business. Like you're a technology company, you would absolutely need you're building apps and would need a solution like ours. If you are an enterprise, and most enterprises these days have digital initiatives and are building applications, they typically are new, modern, distributed apps. If you're building a new app, so they would need a solution like ours. The only place where we typically don't play in is if you're an organization that's not doing any application development and is only using
kind of
software
few
as
and
a
far
service
between at this
type
point.
solutions. Yes. If you're only using Salesforce and you're not doing any app development, then you're probably not a great fit for us.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, Karthik, thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you very much, Alan. Thanks for being here.
I hope you enjoy the rest of DUS. It's only the first day, but I think it's gonna be a great 3 days. The buzz out there is great, and keep us posted with SignalFX continued development, because as I said, I loved what I saw when I sat through the demo.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan.
All
Thanks
right.
for the kind words.
Karthik, thank you for joining us. This is Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com's DevOps TV at DUS San Francisco.